We got Coach Haddix in. Coach,
What's going on?
how you doing, Coach? Coach, we got a
I'm
green
good.
screen
I'm just
issue, but that's all right.
leaving a middle school basketball game, heading to the house.
Oh, okay.
Coaches do it all, huh? Cover it all.
Oh,
We got Coach James in. We just wanted to have y'all in, and it's been good. Like I told him, the last time y'all met was probably one of the best games we've seen ever in the state championship. Since
Lord.
then, you went on and pretty much dominated this class. And Coach James has been right on your heels, nipping at you. Tell us about
Hey, Coach,
what's y'all's relationship?
Coach James is, I said, I think looking at it, I don't know, in the last 3 years, I think he's only lost 2 games, one in the semifinals and then one in the finals. So you look about how good of a job and things he's done. We've known each other and met as we obviously started competing and do this. Got a lot of respect and for what they do and the way that their kids play the game. Very very tough. He does a great job, and we've shared. Become friends. I guess since we've competed and played, we've thrown 7-on-7 against each other. Nothing but respect for what he does and how he's done it at his program.
I think it's the same thing for us. Just the way Justin and those guys approach it, it's fun to get to compete in games like this against teams like that because that's what high school football's about. And there's a mutual respect of the culture and what they've done and how they do it. And getting to watch them on film is refreshing because there's people out there that are still trying to play football the right way and teach their kids the right things, and pretty exciting.
Say, Coach Haddix, we know that you had a had a big game against Corbin, a little bit of controversy towards the end of the game, but how did it feel, what I'm saying, to come out of that game, what I'm saying, going into the state finals?
Hey, a win's a win. When you look at that, you just gotta. Anytime you're playing right now and practicing, it's a great day. I said you woke up this morning. It was like Christmas morning. And said, usually my alarm goes off at 6:05, and I was up at 5:50, thinking about what we got to do to get our team ready. And obviously, you're playing against another really good team who is physical and who does a lot of good things on offense and defense and special teams. And we're just excited to get a play and be in this position. There's only 12 teams in the state of Kentucky playing right now. And we're very blessed to be in that. I've dealt with not being here, and I like being here. I don't care if it is against a really good team to get a play. And when you play in big games, feel like we've been in some big ones this year, and our kids are prepared. I know Coach James, his kids are prepared. They've won. They know how to win. They've won big games. They've been in these situation. So I think it's going to be a great game on Friday night.
Now,
The coach
we've
had his
been
man on
talking.
the show. Oh,
Go
great.
ahead, you.
Well, Coach Tack's on the show all the time. He say there's no more Quisenberries coming through the locker room, but you had a Jaden Heisel Smith who did a pretty good job. 1609 rushing, 16 TDs, 115 yards per game. How big is he being in other kids stepping in and replacing a kid like Quisenberry?
Lord, Quisenberries don't come around a lot, and I was blessed to get to coach him and Demarie Brown and those guys who are just explosive when they get their hands on the ball. And you got a kid like Jiden who has bided his time. He's had to be the scout team running back for us, and Coach James coached at Boyle a little bit, being the scout team running back at Boyle, and I'm sure it's the same thing at Franklin County. Look to a very physical defense every day. And he wasn't getting any touches on the varsity. Played a little bit of special teams, and then here he is his senior year, and it was his turn. And he's not the biggest guy, And kind of, we played a few teams. They kind of laugh at him when he comes out there at warmups, and then he ran for 440 against Covcath, and just does a good job. He's learned to really be patient as a runner, and just gotten better as the years went on. And he's one of those special cases, and I'm sure Coach James has had them too. Of you see him grow so much as a freshman, of where they start, and just every year they just progress. A guy, maybe one that had some troubles early, and then what a story he is to tell now about what he's done this year for our football team and what he means to it.
Now, both of y'all, we've talked about this all season. 4A is probably the toughest class as far as like there's so many good teams, and you guys have run the gauntlet. How has it been competing on that level all season? Coach James?
I think scheduling is important. You get if we've been in some tight games and probably some games that were tighter than they should have been for us, but doing that and then you line up against Paducah Tillman in the semis. That's not new. That's not a first time experience. So putting your kids in those positions, win or lose, is important. If you can create, we talk all the time about creating adversity. Well, playing a great team is adversity. It's a challenge that's in front of us. So we try to do that as much as we can, and we've got to be smart about how we do it. There's no way for our program yet to line up St. X Trinity Mayo in 3 weeks and go do that stuff. We're knocking on the door and we're trying to schedule tougher and tougher, and it's been good to us. This year we thought we had a little bit tougher schedule than we did. And some teams didn't pan out, but happy with the adversity it's provided us to get us where we're at now.
Kind of going on what Coach James said is just the effort and the thing playing those big games. And I think kids all remember those big games where they're at and playing. I know growing up, I always wanted to get a chance to play a St. X or play one of those big schools that everybody kind of talked about and saying this. So that was something, kind of the big three, what we'd always heard about growing up was Trinity, Louisville Mayo, and St. X. So that was always kind of a fun thing for us. And, we lost a lot of really good players, and then coming up and challenging our guys with our schedule. It makes it fun to get up, to go to work. And when you get that challenge, and I think being a competitor is something that, a lot of people and a lot of coaches, they just schedule wins. And, Coach James does a good job of scheduling people and challenging his team. And I do not want to start off and I want to see what we're made about, what we're going to be about early on. I think I learned that my first season as a head coach in 2010 was we started off the year 6-0, and I'm 25 years old, and I'm like, well, this is easy. It's 6-0. But then we lost 4 in a row or 3 in a row or something like that. I don't know. We finished 7-5. Wasn't a good year. And I said, I'm going to know what type of team I have before I get in district play from here on out. And I've tried to schedule as tough a team as I can. And I tell our guys in January before we start, I said, I picked the 10. I guess we got 3 district games. I said, I picked the 7 fights with the biggest bullies we can to try to see what we're about.
This is for both you guys. This may be a little bit of controversial. Do we still feel the need to have all teams make the playoffs? Because you guys have blowout wins. Does it benefit you guys to have to go play that game?
I don't. I mean, I think that it doesn't really benefit us. It's a week of practice, but I think that gap is widening, and it's hard to make a case to continue to do it the way that we're doing it. I mean, it's so far apart now that there's safety, there's all kinds of stuff, and you look down in Georgia, and there's a blowout game down there, and there's a massive brawl where 40 kids are suspended from a team that won by 40 points. There's so many things that happen, and there's just such a divide. And I think there has to be some change. I don't know what the answer is, so that's why I don't complain about it, because I believe in being solution based. But there does need to be a hard, long look at it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with Coach on that. I think there was 2 4 seeds that won, and that was in 6A. I'm pretty sure from what we know. I think it was Frederick Douglass's district. I think was the team that all 4 seeds won.
Yeah.
In that you had GRC and I forget Madison Central.
Station, Bryan Station.
Yeah, Bryan Station. Like that was a district that the 4 seed won, but I don't know of any other up. So you hate to say, hey, you don't want to give them that opportunity. But then also as a coach, with us, just like Coach James said, hey, you don't know who you're playing a lot of times. And then, here you played really good people all throughout the season. In that first couple rounds in the playoffs isn't maybe the competition level you get. And then you're going to play somebody really good in the third round. And, your kids it's tough. And I say, that's why winning a state championship and getting to play for a state championship, you are beating the odds. Like there's a lot of things that you're fighting against and what you got to do and what makes it so special.
All right, before we wrap this up, Coach James and Coach Haddix, what's it going to take for y'all to get this win Friday?
I'll let him take that one first.
I said, with playing them, obviously, in anything that goes in every game that everybody ever asks, like, what is it going to take? Well, one, defensively, you got to limit the big play. I think defense is what wins championships. We say that all the time. I mean, obviously, I call the offense, and I want to score points. Coach James calls the offense over there. He wants to score points. So, defense has to play really well and can't give up big plays. Got to make the other team drive it. Over and over. I think big plays are a big thing, and then you got to try to get turnovers. Offensively, you got to take care of the football. We can't give them a short field. We can't turn the ball over, and you got to score in the red zone. And then in special teams, they've been really, really good on special teams. So we can't give up a special teams touchdown, and you got to win the field position battle. And it comes down to three phases. And we experienced that last week. We won two phases and lost one, and we were able to pull out a win. So you got to win at least 2 out of 3, but it's going to be a tough ball game we're playing against. They're really well coached. They compete their butt off, and they get they get their guys the ball, and that makes it tough when you're playing against. I know coaches same way. We're like, when you play against some people, they don't get their guys the ball. Like, he gets his guys the ball, and we've got to do a great job of stopping them, and it's going to come down to blocking and tackling, and that's what it does in these top games.
For me and for us, I think it's about playing playoff football, and you've got to take care of the football. We talk about explosives for us, and we don't want any negative explosives for them. A pick six or any kind of crazy turnover, a big negative play. We create that, so we want to try to limit those. And we've got to play our game. We've got to run our race. I've told our players all week. We're playing with house money. When you get to this point, everybody's good. Everybody's well coached. You don't make it here on accident. And we talk to our kids all the time about just competing every play. So for us, we want to compete every play, and who knows what it looks like. They're calling for rain, snow. I mean, it that changes it immensely. There's just all kinds of variables, but getting our kids to the field Friday night and putting our best foot forward and relying on our culture and the things we do to get to these moments and give our kids a chance to be in the best position.
Well, we wish y'all the best of luck. We'll be there, and good luck, coaches, and thank y'all for doing big things, Coach.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
luck, guys.
Yes,
All
Hey,
right,
thanks for having us on. See you.
Yes, sir.